Hello everyone, it's Citizen Mix here, welcome to a brand new video, and today we are gonna talk about refreshes. And yes, I am sitting on the floor to do this video. A few weeks ago, The Sims released an update for one of the old packs, Spa Day, and they refreshed the pack into a new pack with better textures and more content and more gameplay, and I think they did a great job, and I think most people would agree with that they did a very good job, honestly, with the new pack. And that also led to a lot of speculation online on what other packs The Sims would work on to refresh, of course, and what that would entail. And honestly, I am going to talk about what I would like to see as refresh pack in Sims 4. Of course, before starting this video, these are all just my opinions. You can be entitled to your own opinion and be against mine. And of course, I would like to have a civil conversation in the comments if you don't agree with whatever I'm gonna say about other packs. If you don't think that these need a refresh, it's fine. And if you think other packs that I haven't talked about need a refresh, that's also okay. You can let me know in the comments down below. I would like to have open discussions with everybody because I would like to know what the general public thinks, honestly. And of course, while you're down there in the comments, leaving your comments, you can also leave a like to this video. So with refreshes, we saw in Spa Day that they usually go with better textures, better colors, more swatches, new items, and also new gameplay. So that's mostly what I'm gonna talk about. And honestly, I feel like for textures, retextures, and new colors and new swatches, I think those should just be just basic stuff that they have for every pack, honestly, especially packs that are older than 2017-18. Especially because the new textures in 2020, 2021, those are much better, and the packs that are older really don't match. So I would like basically for all the packs that I'm gonna talk about with textures, new colors, and new swatches. So that's basically like a given for all the packs, even if I don't mention it. Let's start with expansion packs, and with probably my favorite expansion pack, which is Get to Work. So Get to Work is one of the first, if not the first pack for The Sims 4. It's definitely the first expansion pack for The Sims 4, and it came out in 2014, I think, and it added a lot of decent gameplay. But of course, no packs come without flaws, and I think the pack could really use a refresh here. Of course, as I said, textures, recolors, and more swatches, those are super welcomed, especially with also new objects, like for example a new microscope that is not gigantic. That would be very nice. But other than the refresh for textures, for Get to Work, I think one of the biggest issues is the word. So the word that we get with Get to Work is Magnolia Promenade, and it's very underwhelming, honestly. It's such a small word with only 4 lots. 3 of those are shops that are already built, so you don't really want to use those because they sell like stuff that is already in the shop, so you might as well just build your own shop. So honestly, Magnolia Promenade is very much a letdown, especially when you think that most, if not all, the expansion packs that we have that come with a word have a word that has more than 10 lots, I think. Especially Windenburg has like 24 lots. So Magnolia Promenade is definitely the odd one out, and I would like it to see refreshed, as in add more lots. I'm not talking about like 10-11 lots to make it bigger, because I don't know if that would fit, but like 6-7, that would be already like much better. And while they're refreshing the word, I would like to see a new map kind of look. I would like to have the hospital, the police station, and the lab also be available from the map, because they only are available when you go to work with the active careers, and I think that's fine for the most part. But I would like to go to the hospital maybe by myself, just randomly. If my sim just gets sick and I don't just want to buy medicine, I would like to go to the hospital maybe. Or if something happens in my house, maybe I would like to go to the police station. Honestly, if those lots would be available from the actual map, that would make it much better in my opinion. We know that all the neighborhoods have an icon, and Magnolia Promenade, I'm pretty sure, only has one because it only has one neighborhood. But like more like of those dots in the map view, one that goes to the hospital and police station, which are one in front of the other, and one that goes to the lab. I think that could help the world a little bit more. I would also like to see the 3 active careers a little bit more revamped, as in having a little bit more impact on the gameplay. Because my biggest issues with the active careers is that you don't really have much impact on the world where you are in. So if you are a policeman and you arrest a sim, that sim doesn't really go into the jails that are at the police station, while I would like that to be a thing. Or maybe having, like, if you're a doctor, you could have more illnesses that also are maybe deadly to your sims if you don't cure them correctly, so you could kill patients. That could be like something a little bit more interesting to all the active careers to make them a little bit more impactful in the game. And while we have 3 careers that I think that's pretty good, I would like to see a couple more active careers, at least one. I would like to see either a teacher career or a fireman career. Since we do have firemen also in the game now, I think that could work pretty nicely, having a fireman career with the firehouse, and you know, those are base games, so it's pretty easy to adjust a fireman in. With the revamp, I would also like to see better aliens. And you haven't seen my video probably, but I already talked about better aliens in The Sims. I'm gonna link it in an info card. I don't know in which corner it's gonna be. Of course, I did that whole video about better aliens. I think the better aliens should come with a revamp with a skill tree like vampires and spellcaster have. I think that could really make the aliens more interesting and more useful, honestly. And last thing, but not less important, I would like a little revamp on the shop system. I would like my sims to be able to choose what kind of sim have as an employee. So you could have a family-owned business that is only run by your family. And I know that you could technically do that, but your sims that work at the shop wouldn't get paid, right? Because the same money goes into the same money thing, the same inventory of money, because they are all in the same family. And I would like to have like teenagers being able to work at the shop of their parents and earn a little more money. I think that could be very cute. And while we're there, I would also like to have a new lot type where you can have a home-owned business, where you can have your own home and your own business in the same lot. And I know that this technically is possible to do right now, where you buy a shop and you can also build a house at the shop. Your sim can live there and sleep and eat or whatever, but I would like it to be their main lot, like they live there and that's their house, and they also have a shop there. And you can do that with the new tables, the vending tables, but it's not exactly the same thing. I would like to have like a little shop and on top of the apartment, and have my sims live and like stay there without having them go to the main lot or having to buy another different lot. So let's move on to the second expansion pack that I'm going to talk about, which is City Living. So I think the City Living obviously is a pretty good pack, and honestly doesn't really need much more stuff on it, I think, other than retextures, recolors, more swatches, more items. I think those are super cool, and especially more cultural items, since that is like a multi-ethnic kind of pack thing that they're trying to do. But what I would like to see mainly in a refresh would be the ability to build your own apartment. Because right now we can kind of dismantle an apartment and remake it into something that we want, but I would like to be able to actually build like my own skyscraper up with apartments. And I think that could be very cool, honestly, as an addition. And honestly, that's my biggest gripe with that pack, and I don't think it really needs anything else, so let me know in the comments. Moving on to the last expansion pack that I'm gonna talk about, Island Living. Island Living, you might say, oh, well, that's such a new pack, it's not gonna be bad, right? Well, you're wrong. Honestly, Island Living, it was such a big letdown for me. The world of Sulani, it's so beautiful, and there's so much potential there, and it didn't really work out in my opinion. First thing first, mermaids are very basic, as for the aliens are. So of course, if I want to see better aliens, I would like to see better mermaids, especially that mermaids came after vampires and spellcasters, so we already had the idea of skill trees in mind, and not having mermaids have skill trees I think was a big oversight, and they need to refresh that and add that. I think that could really revamp the gameplay with mermaids a little bit and make them more interesting. And while we're on the topic of mermaids, I would like to see an underwater lot like a secret lot that we already have in game. You already have secret lots in base game. We have secret lots in base game and we don't have it in this. So when you enter the cave, I think it's called the mermaid cave, where you get the mermaid fruit. How many times did I say mermaid right now? But entering that cave, you could probably like stumble into an underwater lot, and if you're like a good swimmer or a mermaid, you can go in this underwater lot and your sim can like go there. I don't know, I think it would be nice to have something for mermaids because they really seem like an afterthought, just like aliens were. On the topic of gameplay, I would like more compelling gameplay. I think that's definitely the biggest flaw for island living, because the world is so stunning, the items are great, the textures are good. So honestly, the biggest thing would be better gameplay. And I know we have the whole thing with plants and saving the island and making it green again, but that doesn't really go anywhere, right? You clean up the island, the plants go back to green, and you're done. And that stays the same forever in that save game. I don't think that should be like that. And I would like it to be more impactful. So if you don't do it, maybe the entire island dies out, there are no more plants, all the animals die, and maybe the volcano erupts or something. Or if you do it and you get all the way to the green good plants, you have to keep maintaining it so that it doesn't go below something. Kind of like the eco footprint kind of thing, that goes green or it goes industrial, and you have to kind of maintain it in order to keep it green or keep it industrial. I know it doesn't super work perfectly, but that would be a little bit more interesting. Honestly, in Sulani, having a little bit more gameplay, it would be nice. Just because honestly, we really don't have much. Another thing that I would like to see is maybe a surfing kind of skill. We already have the snowboard and the ski skill from Snowy Escape, but I think surfing, or I don't know, whatever, something with water, I think surfing would be the best one. Another skill just to add to the game. So let's move on to game packs. And the first game pack that I'm gonna talk about is Outdoor Retreat, which is the first game pack that we got in The Sims 4, but is also very, very, very bad in my opinion. My biggest gripe with this pack is fact that Granite Falls is not a livable world, so you cannot live in Granite Falls, you can only use it for vacation, which I guess is fine, but I would like to have a house there. I'd like to be able to live there, I would like to be able to have a museum there, or whatever. I think it would be nice. And especially, I'm still not sure what the thought process was of having as the first vacation word a place where you go camping and not like a beach word where you go to the beach. I still don't understand that. But since we have this camping place, let's make it a little more interesting, right? Let's make it into an actual forest. And I think that would come with more gameplay, and especially with a kind of hike system, like the one that we have in Snowy Escape. So in Snowy Escape, you can hike with your family and go around the place and see, I think you can see spirits, you can see some insects, and just walk around with your family. And that would work so well in Granite Falls, which is a place that's made for excursions and hiking. Like, it's literally a forest next to the mountains, next to a lake. Like, that's the perfect place to have a hike. And I think that could work so well in Granite Falls, and I would like that to be added. Just going around, having, maybe you can meet animals instead of spirits, and you could again meet this, of course, insects and have them crawl on you, and maybe that's a bad moodlet like the one in Snowy Escape, exactly like that. I don't mind that it would be the same as in Snowy Escape, just so that you can do something in Outdoor Retreat. And of course, again, more items, more textures, more colors, that's like obvious. But what I would like to see is like another secret lab. We already have one, which is good, but I think it would be nice to have another secret lab because I have an idea. I would like to have some kind of mystery creature, like a Bigfoot kind of creature that roams around the forest. Of course, you don't really see it at first, but you can have like a skill thing, like the one in Sabodorada, where you have to talk to the people that are there. So the one that have a shop there, I think there's one in like the little kiosk, or like forest guards, and you talk to them and ask them about this creature. And of course they would come with an aspiration probably, and maybe a trait, and you would have like maybe some weird footprints, big footprints somewhere, and you would have some weird bushes moving and some black shadow moving across the forest. and your Sims would be like, oh my god, let's find this forest. And maybe when you hike, you could be able to go to this secret lot where the actual Bigfoot lives. And you just need a Sim that is wearing a suit, like the bear suit, but make it into a Bigfoot. I think we already have a Yeti from Snow Escape. Moving on to another game pack, let's talk about Dine Out. So I know that most people will like a Dine Out refresh for the bug fixes, but I think bug fixes should just come, obviously, in a refresh, if the refresh comes, but if the refresh doesn't come, the bug fixes should still come. So it should be imperative that with a refresh of a pack, all the bugs are fixed. I think that's obvious. As for the textures and the color swatches I was mentioning, I think that's obvious. But I would still like to see Dine Out refreshed for a couple other reasons. First thing first, I would like to have, as for the retail system, the ability to choose your own employees. So you can have a family-owned restaurant that is just owned and managed by a family. I think that would be very cute, and have a little bit more gameplay for all your Sims that you need to manage at the same time so that you can manage the entire restaurant. I think that would be nice. And of course you can still have employees if you want, but if you don't, you can still choose what kind of employees you would like. What the packs misses the most, I think, is the ability to create different kind of restaurants. So if you want to build like a fast food restaurant or a high-end restaurant, you would have to use the same items, because the pack only has like 2 kind of stoves that you can use, which is nuts, because those 2 restaurants wouldn't have the same equipment. So I would like to see more equipment, more items, more utensils, more electronics for kitchens, so that you can have different restaurants. So maybe you need a deep fryer for a fast food restaurant, or you need a mixer or a bread maker or whatever, just so that we can have different items for different restaurants and kind of distinguish different restaurants for I don't know, a little bit more gameplay, honestly. And while we're there, let's kind of fix a little bit the menu UI, because I think it's kind of messed up. It's a little bit too much to have to click through every single items that you want to add to a menu. I would like more pre-made menus. And also, while we're there, why is there only the base game and the Dine Out food in the categories? We have so much more food that was added to the game. We have the new seasons food, all the kiosk food, we have the Mount Komorebi food, we have the cottage living food, and all that food is not in menus that you can have in Dine Outs. I would like to see all that food being added to the menu, so you can have, as all the packs that you add, all the new food that you have. I think that will make so much sense. And I don't understand when it's not already a thing, especially with pack integration and all the stuff that they talk about, and I wanted to be better at that. I think that will really make Dine Out even more interesting. And while you're at that, also add more food in general, just add more type of food that you can have at your restaurant. I think that would be nice. So moving on to the next game pack, let's talk about Jungle Adventure. I think Jungle Adventure overall is pretty good pack, and I'm not gonna complain about textures or the gameplays. I have, first thing first, of course, I would like to have Salvadorada be a livable world, so that you have actual Sims living in Salvadorada, and you can have your Sim live in Salvadorada, and you can really immerse yourself in a culture. And I think the Salvadoran culture thing is nice. I would like it to be a little bit more of a interesting skill with maybe like 10 levels, and maybe you have to immerse yourself in a culture a little bit more. Since it's inspired by South America, I think there's so much that we can do for Latin representation in the game that this pack could really help with. And I think just having Salvadorada be a little bit more culturally impactful would be nice. So having your Sim be able to live there, having Sims that are native to that place, I think that would be nice. While we're there, also add a couple of secret lots here as well. I don't understand when there are no secret lots, when literally it's all about exploring the forest. I know you can go either to the fountains, the temple of course, the island, or the playing place. And I think it would be nice to have a couple more lots where you could end up randomly. Maybe just when you go to the forest and you want to go to the playing place, maybe there's the possibility, like a 25% possibility that you end up in this other lot. And I think that would be interesting, just to have a little bit of spice maybe. And maybe have in those lots the possibility of having not exactly a temple, but like a ladder structure of some kind that it's similar to a temple, where you can have still find treasure and artifacts and stuff, so that it does still make sense for you to go to these places that are more hidden because you have a lower possibility to go there. But it also still means that you have to go to the temple still, because you need to go to the temple to get all the artifacts. And talking about the temples, I think the temples are fine, but we need more layouts, more traps, more stuff to do. Just because, honestly, after like 5 temples, you come into the same kind of layout again and again and again, and it kind of gets a little boring. Honestly, I think it could really help having more layouts and more traps and more switches and stuff that you can do to go through the temple, just to make it a little bit more interesting and help it a little bit more. Another game pack that I would like to see refreshed is Strangerville. It's gonna be controversial because I honestly really like Strangerville. I think it's a very, very good pack, but I would like to see a couple of changes. First thing first, fix the fucking houses in Strangerville. Why are the houses so ugly and useless? Make them good. Make them good. Because Strangerville really is such a beautiful world and deserves good houses. Give us good houses. I think that's my biggest gripe. But what I would like to see is making the Strangerville mystery a little bit more interesting, and I have a couple of ideas for that. First thing first, I would like to see a hard mode for the Strangerville mystery, just like we have for Paranormal. So for Paranormal, you can switch into a hard mode for the Paranormal house, where the haunted house becomes more violent, I think. And I think that could work very nicely for the Strangerville mystery, where you can put it into hard mode, and you can maybe have a time limit, like 30 minutes, to finish the Strangerville mystery. I think that could really make it a little bit more of a challenge, a little bit more interesting. And honestly, while we're there, I would like the Strangerville mystery to be maybe a couple different mysteries together. I think the mother plants and the whole story is pretty nice, and I played it a couple of times, but honestly, you don't really want to play it more than twice. I think it's nice that you can choose to refresh the mother plants and go back. So if you want to replay that in the same game pack, there's replayability, of course, and you can also set the Strangerville to a certain level of strangeness, so that's also very nice, which is something that Island Living didn't do. So I really commend for that, but I would like it to be maybe something different. Maybe there's a UFO in the desert, a la The Sims 2 DS version, that was like a actual UFO in the desert, or there's, I don't know, maybe the van that goes around and has that detecting thing. Maybe you have to find out who actually drives that vans and who is owned by, just to have different stuff to do other than the mother plant, which I think it's fine. Or maybe if you want to keep the mother plant, you can do the same mystery, but you have to do it in a different way. Maybe you have to become friends of the people of the town, and together you start protesting against the government, and then you have to convince people. I don't know, but just make it a little bit more different, just because of the replayability factor that is not really there. So the last couple of game packs I'm talking about are Realm of Magic and Journey to Batuu. I think Realm of Magic overall is decent. What I would like to see is fix the houses in Glimmerbrook. Glimmerbrook is a cute word with the worst houses that we have. Fix them. Fix the houses, please. Please. And also add a couple of lots to Glimmerbrook, because it has like 6 and it's such a cute word. I would like to have more people live there. And while we're there with lots, I would like more lots in the Magic Realm. So the Magic Realm is a nice, I think it's very pretty and looks awesome, but there's only the big like school thing and some front shops, and that's it. What I would like to see is maybe like a botanic garden where you can grow your magic plants and grow plants to do potions with, and also maybe like a bar or a nightclub or whatever, like the cantina that we have in Journey to Batuu. I think just another spot where people can hang out. That would be nice, just to have a little bit more life on that lonely island in the nothingness. And talking about Journey to Batuu, I don't think that pack is redeemable, as in, I don't think it's fixable that much. But if they had to refresh it, they would have to add what I think is the biggest thing that they missed on adding, even worse than the fact that all the alien creatures that we have in the game are like just makeup. I think that's understandable. Not really, but understandable. But the biggest oversight that they had is not having a Jedi occult. Why can we not become a Jedi and like start working on our skill tree and decide whether we want to go on the dark side or the good side, the light side? And that also ties in with the missions where you help the Order or you help the Resistance. I think that could be so good to have. Since I did play the pack, it's fine gameplay wise. It's a lot of back and forth, it's a lot of loading games because of the loading screens going through different part of the world. A lot of back and forth, and the missions are okay. But honestly, why can we not become a Jedi? Also, give us a skill with the lightsabers. Why is not a lightsaber skill? I don't understand that. I think it's fitness, it's connected to fitness. Makes zero sense. Make it a lightsaber. So obvious. So, we're moving into stuff packs and what stuff packs I would like to see refreshed. And let me tell you, the first 6-7 stuff packs, I think they all need a refresh, as in we need more items in them. Talking especially about like luxury party, patio stuff, spooky stuff, those packs have zero value for the money that you buy them. Like luxury stuff pack I think has 12 items, maybe, and it costs $10. Like that's $1 for item. No, I don't think so. Where there are other packs that cost the same that give me like 50-70 items that are much better. Like it makes zero sense. So I think those packs really need a refresh in the sense of new items, new content added to them. But I want to talk specifically about 2 stuff packs, and the first one is the fitness stuff. So fitness stuff, I don't think it's a bad pack per se, but it's very boring. I think it doesn't really add much, honestly, because yes, it's a fitness stuff, but other than fitness gear, like actual like clothes, items that we get are a treadmill that we already have in base game and in spa day, a weight machine which already we have in base game and spa day, and the rock climbing wall. I think that's like the main item that we have in that pack, but that's like one item that we don't have in other pack. And it still gives us the same fitness skill, so it doesn't make sense to buy this pack, right? Why would I spend $10 to get stuff they already have in game? I think that fitness stuff pack needs more fitness stuff, like dumbbells, bars, elastics, a row machine, a cyclettes, anything. I think like a Peloton kind of machine. We already have the bike animation in game anyway, so it wouldn't be that much of a hard thing to add, because honestly, if you compare it to a pack like, I don't know, Paranormal, where you get so much gameplay other than so many items, it honestly doesn't hold up at all. So honestly, I think fitness stuff really could benefit from a refresh. And finally, let's talk about another big controversial pack, my first pet stuff. I think the biggest issue that I have with my first pet stuff is that yes, half of the items only work with cats and dogs, which makes sense because they are cats and dogs item clothes, but then we only are left with 20 other items, while other packs have 50 items that I can all use. So I think adding more items to the pack would make it more worth it, because it would be like, yes, sure, there are 20 items that go into only cats and dogs item, like only cats and dogs clothes that I can only use if I have cats and dogs, but also I still have 50 other items that I can still play with that are not necessarily with cats and dogs. So honestly, more items would be very nice. I don't think the textures are bad, I don't think the swatches are bad. More swatches are always welcome, of course, but I don't think those are bad. I think it would be so obvious to add these items with more animals. Why do we only have 4 animals in this pack? It's my first pet stuff. It's not my first rodent stuff. Why do we have a mouse, a hamster, a weird buffalo thing, and another animal that I don't even remember what we have? For example, we could have snakes, we could have frogs, we could have rabbits, we could have birds, we could have spiders, we could have turtles. All animals, except maybe for the turtles. I don't think we have turtles in game. All the other animals are already in game. So there are already the asset for all these animals. We already have an asset for snakes because they are in jungle adventure. We already have an asset for frogs because frogs are for base game. We already have assets for spiders. We already have assets for birds, like a lot of different birds. So honestly, it's not that hard to have these animals into a cage and add those to my first pet stuff, so that we have more items and it's more worth it to buy that pack. So this is it. These are my packs that I think need a refresh in The Sims 4. Obviously, as I said, these are all just my opinions, but I would love to know what your opinion is on these packs, if they need a refresh, and what other packs you would like to see a refresh of that I haven't mentioned personally. Let me know in the comments down below all your opinions and ideas, because I would love to have an open conversation and know what you think. So, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, put on notifications so don't forget the next video is coming out. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye!